Yo, what's up everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and I'm coming at you with another review of the Pokemon Journey series. We're going to be covering episode 52 in today's review. So, before I get into the review, I just want to say if you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Anyways, let's get on to that review, shall we? So the main premise behind this episode is that Professor Sakuragi has a former student of his requesting some assistance because he owns a farm now. It's called Endo Farms. The dude's name's Endo. But he's having a bit of a problem with Diglett and Dugtrio. They're basically affecting the crops. It's kind of affecting the progress of these crops. So it's becoming a bit of an issue. So he tasks Ash and Go to go and investigate, which obviously Go wants to go there because he hasn't caught a Diglett or a Dugtrio yet. He wants to catch them all, so obviously Go is going to want to go. And Ash is there to help him out. But it's not just the boys going. No, sir. Our Queen Koharu has decided to head out with Ash and Go. As she's actually familiar with Endo because since the dude was a former student of Professor Sakuragi, she's very familiar with him. So, the trio head off to Endo Farms. So Ash and Go were introduced to Endo here, and I thought it was pretty interesting because this dude's farm, he uses Electrode and Voltorb to help him out, with planting the crops and getting the soil ready. So I thought this was all pretty interesting. Another thing that's pretty interesting too is that it shows that Koharu here is actually, her school education is coming in handy, and also taking care of the flowers at the school. It's all coming in handy because she's aware of how tomatoes are planted and how they grow. Go over here, since this kid doesn't go to school, he's completely unaware of how this process takes place, and he's asking questions like, I kind of knew about it, but I'd never seen it in person. So, I don't know, I thought this was all pretty funny. Anywho, moving on to the main issue here, the Diglett show up and they're messing with the crops, so Ash, Go, and Koharu head into the field to try and stop these Pokemon and get them out of the farm. And Go wants to catch some of these Pokemon. So that's what they try to do, and the Diglett are hiding under the carrots because that's a good hiding spot for them. But it doesn't look like Ash, Go, and Koharu are very successful here. They're not really working very well as a team. They're actually splitting up, and it's not working out very well. And there's a funny moment where Go tries to catch a Diglett and ends up hitting Ash in the face with the Pokeball. And Koharu remarks that, "Hey, Go, you weren't trying to catch Ash, were you?" So I thought that was kind of funny. They were able to help Endo get a bunch of carrots, but they were unfortunately unable to solve the issue with the Diglett as they got away. Koharu ends up actually coming up with a pretty smart idea, which he says in order to make this work, somebody needs to be watching from afar and giving orders to the other two members of the team in order to coordinate and figure out where the Diglett are going. And Go and Ash realize that Koharu was actually very suited for this role, in which they actually volunteer her to take on the role. So she takes on the role, and this actually ends up being a good thing. So what she does is she sets up a bunch of flags around the field, like a blue flag, a red flag, for example. And if the Diglett are heading towards that flag, she tells Ash and Go to head towards that flag. And this ends up working up very well, as Go catches a Diglett and later catches their leader, Dugtrio. Ash and Go work very well together, and they manage to solve the issue here. And Go ends up catching both Pokemon. So, nice job, guys. So as it turns out, the Diglett and Dugtrio used to live on the hill near the farm. So something seems to be driving them away from that hill. So Ash, Go, and Koharu go to investigate, and it turns out that it's none other than Team Rocket there over here. And it turns out that a Meowth, a Scarecrow robot, is causing a lot of noise, and that's possibly what drove the Diglett and the Dugtrio leader away from this hill. And then Team Rocket takes out their wonderful gotcha machine that we all just totally love and is totally the best thing to happen to Team Rocket. Yeah, maybe not. But anyways, it takes out a Drillbur and a Sandslash, but they're no match for Go's Dugtrio, which blasts them off along with Pikachu. Now, at the end of this episode, it's actually really nice. There was a nice moment at the end of the episode. They're just hanging out. Endo's thanking them for helping out, which Go looks over and notices that his Dugtrio that he just caught, he might need to stay here because the other Diglett, they don't know what to do without their leader. So Go actually ends up giving the Dugtrio to Endo. And it turns out that Dugtrio and Diglett, they're pretty good with farming. So, Plus, Go already has a Diglett, so we'll probably eventually evolve into Dugtrio at some point. So, nice going, Go. Now, overall, I thought this episode was pretty decent. It's definitely not the most exciting episode. It's definitely not the best episode. But it was a enjoyable episode, decent episode. But there were a couple of things I did like in this episode. Like, I like the fact that Koharu's here, of course, Queen's here. But the one thing I thought was interesting, it shows how Koharu is changing as time is going on. And she's growing more comfortable around Ash and Go. And she's, kind of accepting them for who they are. So I thought it was pretty nice. At the beginning of this episode, you have, as they're going to the Endo farms, Ash and Go, they're running. They're running to the farm. And Koharu is like, why are we even running? And they're like, well, you see this open field, you just have to run. And Koharu, is like, okay, whatever. But at the end of the episode, as they're leaving the farm, Koharu is the one that's running. And what she basically tells her, Ash and Go are like, why are you running? And Koharu over here is like, it's an open field, so you know what? I just feel like running. So I thought that was a nice, full circle moment in the episode. It shows that Koharu is slowly, changing. She's becoming more accepting of Ash and Go. She's becoming more friendly around them. And it shows her developing over time. So I thought that was a pretty nice moment. Also, can we appreciate Koharu's contributions in this episode? Because without her, I don't think this would have been a successful operation. So, yeah. Make sure that Queen is appearing in every single episode going forward and not disappearing in some episodes like last week's episode where she totally didn't make an appearance. So, yeah. Make sure that Queen is making consistent appearances in journeys going forward, please. Now, I will say I wasn't a big fan of course, Go catching Diglett and Dugtrio Pokemon Go style. Not really a big fan of that, but I do like how they were utilized here. So I'm hoping that Diglett doesn't just disappear to the back of Professor Sakuraki's lab and isn't relevant again. But what I like here is that he catches Dugtrio and he ends up giving it away. And he does it in a pretty good way. Like, obviously, he does it in a way that Ash would give away a Pokemon. It's done in a single episode, but it's still pretty nice, and it shows how considerate Go is becoming. And it shows him how he's developed, because earlier on in journeys, I'd say Go probably wouldn't do something like this. But as Ash has influenced him over time, it shows that, hey, Go, realizes the situation at hand here. He sees that these Diglett would, not know what to do without their leader. So, hey, Endo, you take Dugtrio, train this Pokemon, and train the Diglett, and they'll become pretty good helpers for the farm. So yeah, I like that moment. And of course, Go, again, he has his own Diglett now, so he can evolve it at some point. But I will say the concern is I'm hoping that Diglett here doesn't end up like a bunch of other of Go's Pokemon, where they just disappear to the back of the Sakuraki lab and they're not really that relevant anymore. I hope I'm wrong, but I guess we'll see as the journeys goes on. Alrighty guys, that's all I got for this episode review. So overall, a decent episode. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. So guys, in the comment section down below, what'd you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What are your thoughts on Go's new capture in this episode? What are your thoughts on Koharu potentially having more on-screen contributions in the future? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you all later. You have a great day or night wherever you're at, and be safe. See ya.